You are now watching The Meech.
It's been over half a decade since the Nintendo Switch launched, and since then, there have been many games released, and we're getting even more games in the near future. But considering we're at such a far point in the Switch's life, I thought it would be fun to take a look at every Mario game for the console, especially considering the Christmas season is just around the corner. I debated whether or not to include games that are part of the extended Mario series, like WarioWare or Luigi's Mansion, but I ultimately decided to include them since they're closely related to Mario games anyway. The only games that won't be included are virtual console-like games, like the Arcade Archives games, or any of the Switch Online ones. The Nintendo Switch certainly has been a crazy ride for Mario, and with that being said, here is every Nintendo Switch Mario game ranked. There are good games, bad games, and then there are non-existent games. Super Mario Bros. 35 was a battle royale version of Super Mario Bros. Released for the 35th anniversary of the series. From what I've played, it was very fun, but sadly, you can't even play it anymore, because for some absurd reason, Nintendo took it down after March 31st, 2021. That date will haunt Nintendo fans' nightmares forever. This wasn't the only game to face the March 31st fate, but unlike Super Mario 3D All-Stars where you can still get a physical copy if you want or use other means, there's no way to play Super Mario Bros. 35 because it's tied to a server, and since those servers are down, the game no longer exists. And because of that, I can't rank it. I hope that one day some sense is knocked into Nintendo, because this game had a dedicated following, and it would be nice to have it back. I actually saw a top 10 Mario games list where Mario 35 was a guy's favorite Mario game.
And playing the greatest Mario game ever made, Mario 35, let's go! I am so mad that Nintendo gave us this gift and then just stole it from us.
Look, I might not have agreed Super Mario Bros. 2 is a lie many moons ago, but man, I feel you with this one. Doug Bowser stated the Until March 31st games were taken down because it's a celebration. Nah, it'll be a celebration when you leave Nintendo. Or when you put up Super Mario Bros. 35 again. Bowser, be nice. I couldn't rank Super Mario Bros. 35 because it no longer exists. And my goodness, I wish that were the case for the next game. The Mario Strikers games are some of the most beloved Mario spin-offs, and after a decade and a half without a new entry, it was exciting to see the series come back. Little did we know that what we get is a complete and utter dumpster fire. Where do I even begin? Mario Strikers Battle League has solid fundamental gameplay, and the animations are great. But that's it. There's no variety considering the so-called different stadiums only change the background and the color of the grass. They couldn't even bother to change the texture of the grass to something like sand or rock for the desert and planetoid stages. And you can only see the theming in the background, so essentially all it does is change the color of the grass. Purple grass, wow, how exciting! There are also no hazards or gimmicks of any kind, so you're essentially getting one stadium with 7 different color variations. The character roster is also pathetically low, and items are just standard Mario items, and when the game launched, it didn't even have staples like Daisy, and the edge and the grit from Charged is severely toned down. Now, it's one thing to just lack content, but this game manages to not only lack basic features, but is also broken in many aspects. There's no 4v4 online, and worst of all, the Galactic mode in the game has some of the most broken and cheap AI I've ever seen in a game. It is damn near impossible to beat it, and when I eventually won a cup, I didn't feel a sense of accomplishment. I just felt it was pure luck. It would be one thing if I just wasn't good at the game, but when nearly everyone else is saying it, that's when you know there's a major problem. And to think, people actually defend this crap. Mario Strikers Battle League is such a disappointing and frustrating experience, and to add even more insult to injury, this is a full-price game. There is still fun that can be had, but you will see literally everything the game has to offer within less than an hour. It's essentially like if Mario Kart only had one track with 7 different backgrounds and a 200cc Grand Prix mode that's near impossible to complete. Please, stay far away from this game. Maybe the next game will be better? Not really. Mario Golf Super Rush has quite the bad reputation, even more so than Strikers. I've seen quite a few defend Strikers, but Super Rush, not so much. Where do I stand? Getting into the game, I sorta knew what to expect. At the absolute best, it's a decent golf game, but it pales in comparison to the other Mario Golf games. Most of the courses are generic golf courses that are devoid of any personality, and the featured Speed Golf mode is essentially just walking to the ball. Considering how incredible Mario Golf World Tour on the 3DS is, I'm honestly shocked how Super Rush turned out. Many consider Super Rush to be worse than Battle League, but the reason why it's ranked higher is because it at least has some variety. The Battle Golf mode is fun, and the courses based on New Donk City and All-Star Summit are cool. Not to mention the character roster is far better, even when the game launched. It just really stinks that the 1-Up girl Pauline has only been playable in games I don't want to play, and Mario Kart Tour. And speaking of Tour, you're better off just skipping Mario Golf Super Rush and playing Mario Golf World Tour on the 3DS instead. The game is infinitely better, and is easily one of the best Mario sports games, but Mario Golf Super Rush might as well have been called Mario Golf Super Rushed. The Switch has a lot of Wii U ports. What they can add can vary from negligible to essentially another game, but very rarely will you find ones that are actually worse than the original. New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe is one of the most soulless, lazy games in the entire Mario series. First of all, New Super Mario Bros. U wasn't that great to begin with, but U Deluxe manages to make it even worse with the removal of content and bad new additions. There's no boost mode, also meaning no boost challenges. Now to be fair, boost mode was worthless anyway, but since when is removing content deluxe? I guess having 2 easy modes was worthy of the deluxe moniker. Considering how much Nintendo pushes easy modes, they might as well have added a mode where the game plays itself. It also breaks multiplayer having 2 easy characters, since in Mario U, 1 player will always be stuck with an easy character in 4-player multiplayer, and 2 of the players in Luigi U will be stuck with easy characters. Yes, U Deluxe also includes Luigi U, but that's nothing new. You're more likely to find New Super Mario Bros. U plus New Super Luigi U than you would be to find a standalone New Super Mario Bros. U. The only good addition is being able to play as whatever character you want in single player, but I don't love Yellow Toad enough to deem this game anything but trash. Oh boy, Mario Tennis Aces. This is easily one of the most notorious games on the channel, because it really started my resentment towards modern Nintendo, because it was the first game to wake me up to the free update practice. Essentially, Nintendo releases a game unfinished, then finishes it later with free content updates. You know the drill at this point. But looking back, was I too harsh? Considering it didn't even have a stage select screen and got an opening almost a year later, I don't think I was. But compared to Super Rush and Battle League, it has far more redeeming aspects. The core gameplay is excellent and the character roster is as well. Even before the updates, there's also variety with the courts, even though the theming is pretty standard. All 3 of the Mario sports games are severely lacking. Battle League has the gameplay, but zero variety. Super Rush has weak gameplay, but at least some variety. Aces, on the other hand, has the gameplay and some variety. So in other words, this weak gold burnt cheeseburger is better than the plate of vomit. The Switch has a huge problem when it comes to providing a way to play legacy content. There's no virtual console, just the awful online service. Oh, you want Mario Kart Double Dash? All you deserve is Jelly Boy and Kablooey! But there is an exception. Super Mario 3D All-Stars is a collection of Super Mario 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy. All of them are phenomenal games, so I'm not talking so much about the games themselves. What disappointed me is the quality of the collection. First of all, there's no Super Mario Galaxy 2. That's a huge loss right there. They should have even included 3D Land, but everything about the collection on its own is just so lifeless and corporate. It doesn't at all feel like a celebration, and worst of all, it was only officially available until March 31st, 2021. Physical copies are plentiful, so it's not gone forever like Mario 35. It's a principle I can't stand. But hey, while Mario is having an office party, Kirby is partying it up. I gotta be honest, I'm not that much into the Mario Party series. Probably because I got into gaming when the original Hudson games wrapped up. I did enjoy Mario Party DS though. After the backlash of Mario Party 9 and 10, ND Cube tried to go back to what worked in the past with Super Mario Party. From what I've played, the game is alright. I found the boards to be too small, and there's only 4 of them, but from a more casual perspective, I just found the game to be decent, though I can definitely see why longtime fans weren't too fond of it. One of the most noticeable aspects about the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC are with the graphics. With the first wave specifically, the tracks look like Nintendo was on a budget, and they were, because Mario Kart Live Home Circuit has some of the most hyper-realistic graphics I've ever seen. This looks like real life. Mario Kart Live Home Circuit is quite a unique game. It's an augmented reality game where you control a remote-controlled kart around your house. Setting it up can take a while, and you'll need an ample amount of space, but it's surprisingly fun and it has more depth than you'd expect. There are unlockable costumes and even a few different modes, which allowed it to be more than just a one-and-done novelty. The highlight of the game is definitely the multiplayer it added last year, allowing for split screen on one system with 2 karts, and there's even a really cool co-op mode where you can play as Yoshi, Peach, and Toad. The new modes added last year significantly benefited the experience, but when the game launched, I still feel it had enough content. The game definitely isn't for everyone, especially cats. They don't really seem to like this game, but I definitely had fun with it, a lot more than I expected. What's this? A Mario sports game that isn't trash? Well, it's actually a Mario and Sonic sports game. Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020 is more of a minigame collection rather than focusing on just one sport. The quality varies with some of the sports like soccer being more intuitive, while others are over within a minute, but to be honest, I found more sports I enjoyed playing than ones I didn't, and the motion controls are pretty solid as well. Things like boxing feel really good. There's even a story mode where Mario and Sonic get trapped in a retro gaming console, taking them all the way back to the 1964 Olympics. The story itself is absolutely ridiculous, and this is a game I'm considering doing a full retrospective on. But unlike the other Switch Mario sports games, there's a good amount of content, it has charm, and it's overall pretty good. I will say London 2012 and Vancouver 2010 are better, but regardless, Sega does what Nintendo don't. The next game is one of the most interesting Mario games to talk about, not just on the Switch, throughout the entire series. Ever since Paper Mario the Origami King was revealed, I've had conflicting thoughts. The first trailer was incredibly vague, but as more of the game was shown off, it was seemingly a continuation of the paper games like Sticker Star and Color Splash, and while the direction is similar with the theme of origami, there's a crucial aspect that sets Origami King apart from those games. It's actually well designed and a ton of fun to play. The world exploration is the highlight, with many unique locations having many collectibles and quests to complete. It's actually quite reminiscent of 3D Mario, and that's a good thing. And although you don't get experience points, battling is actually worth doing considering you get coins and confetti, which become more scarce as the game progresses. Honestly, I could take or leave the battle system, as I felt the game wouldn't lose much if it didn't have it. But overall, the game is great from a design perspective, and I had a lot of fun playing it. But why isn't it ranked higher? Despite how good the game design is, Origami King unfortunately suffers in a few areas, most of it being the lack of creativity and awkward character design. Prominent characters often look indistinguishable from their standard character designs, and it doesn't matter how good the character personalities are. The fact that there's not a design to accompany them is baffling. The director Kensuke Tanabe said it's because it's no longer possible to modify existing characters to create new ones, but the thing is, other games showcase that it's just a Paper Mario issue. But the one thing that will never sit well with me, even though the game is good, despite fans screaming for a spiritual successor to the original Paper Mario games, the feedback was mostly ignored. I'm not sure if it's Tanabe or an external source at Nintendo or whatnot, but it felt the game was developed with the mindset of, we know what's best for you, you don't know squat. I'm not knocking points for that, but I will for the lack of creativity. Even with that said, Paper Mario the Origami King is a very good game, but I wish it lived up to its full potential, because if it had the creativity of the first 3 games, it easily would be one of the best Mario games of all time. Out of all the Switch games, I don't know why Yoshi's Crafted World has such a bad rep. Sure, the soundtrack is but have you looked at everything else? A great way to describe the game is a 2D platformer that plays like a 3D platformer. You'll be traversing between the foreground and background, completing missions such as clearing the level or finding the 3 Poochie Pups. There's a lot of depth to the levels and a lot of replayability as well. It's also one of the most impressive looking Switch games, going all out with the crafted theme. I do think Yoshi's Woolly World is better in some aspects, such as with the soundtrack, but overall, Yoshi's Crafted World is far more interesting from a gameplay perspective. Don't let the soundtrack deter you, because this is definitely one of the best 2D platformers on the Switch. I might not be that into Mario Party, but even I know when a party is good. Mario Party Superstars brings back the classic Mario Party formula. The boards and minigames are remakes of classic Mario Party ones. The best way I can describe it is Mario Party Ultimate. For a more casual fan such as myself who just wants a great Mario Party to break out at parties, or even just with some friends, Superstars is great for that. It also has some unbelievably good online, and has a gorgeous presentation to boot. While I do wish there were more boards and more characters, Superstars is overall excellent, and it kinda rendered Super Mario Party obsolete. I might not be too invested in Mario Party, but WarioWare is my bread and butter. Ever since the Switch was revealed, I was eager for a new one, but there were definitely a few concerns considering Nintendo's recent track record. But Wario was like, what's this? Nintendo games aren't unfinished, they're just incomplete. Not on Wario's watch. Just like other WarioWare games, you'll be playing through micro games, but what Get It Together introduces are different playable characters, each with their own unique abilities. Some of my favorites are Jimmy T with his finger snap move, and Mike who can spew sour notes. The characters bring a lot of variety to the game, and you can even customize them. So if you want to have Ronald McDonald and Petey on your team, you can totally do that. My favorite is still WarioWare Gold, but Get It Together absolutely delivered. One of the most unexpected games Nintendo has made within the past decade is Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. Seeing Toad get his own game since Wario's Woods was really cool, but the game is the real gem. You'll be clearing these diorama-like levels with the challenge being that Captain Toad can't jump, so there's a lot of puzzle solving needed to get the power stars as well as the 3 hidden gems throughout the levels. The Switch port only added a few levels based on Super Mario Odyssey, as well as some DLC and co-op the next year. And the cool thing is, Treasure Tracker is only $40, with the DLC being just $5. It might not be the most incredible Wii U port out there, but Treasure Tracker is such an excellent game that remains one of my favorites. Hope to see a sequel someday. Unlike Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, many of the 3DS and Wii U era Mario games played it incredibly safe. They weren't as creative, often pandering to new Super Mario Bros. That was the main problem I had with the 3DS and Wii U era. But ever since the beginning, the Nintendo Switch was not afraid to take everything we knew about Mario and throw it in the washing machine. Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle is one of the most insane crossover ideas I've ever seen. Mario and the Rabbids, are you out of your mind? You know what's even crazier? That it's not only a damn solid game, but one of the best in the Mario series. It's a turn-based strategy game that plays similarly to the other Mario RPGs. Battling is really the highlight of the game, but exploring the rabbit-infused Mushroom Kingdom definitely can get quite interesting. There's a lot of fan service here, and considering it's the first Mario game specifically made for the Switch, what a grand and bizarre way to start. And guess what? It gets even better from here. I don't know what I've done more. Played Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, or talked about how I'm sick of playing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Yes, it's a port of a Wii U game that released almost a decade ago, but with that being the case, I can't deny that there is absolutely a reason why I've put in hundreds of hours. I love Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U, and 8 Deluxe is nothing but an improvement. It's the best Mario Kart game, and definitely one of the best Wii U ports even without the recent DLC. and although we've only gotten 2 waves, the quality of Wave 2 showcased things are looking good, and Wave 1 was just a dud, especially with the upcoming Merry Mountain. The character roster is my only major gripe with the game, and although a proper Mario Kart 9 would have been the ideal thing, looking at things objectively, it's easily one of Mario's best games, and easily the best Mario Kart. Super Mario Maker 2 is nearly everything I wanted from a Mario Maker sequel. Even though creating levels isn't as seamless as it was on the Wii U with the gamepad, the amount of options more than makes up for it. It's essentially the ultimate 2D Mario game, even including a story mode with over 100 levels made by Nintendo. Creative games like Flipnote Studio and Super Mario Maker have always been games I sink hundreds of hours into, and Maker 2 is no exception. The only issues I have with it are the lack of amiibo costumes, as well as the nearly unplayable online multiplayer. Also, I miss you, Weird Mario, but creating and playing levels has never been better. Let's be real, the Nintendo Switch is not a powerhouse, so when you see Luigi's Mansion 3, you might be in disbelief. The game is essentially an interactive movie, but it's not limited to the presentation. Everything about the game is incredible. The gameplay takes the best aspects of the first 2 Luigi's Mansion games, while also adding many new ideas and mechanics. Catching ghosts is incredibly satisfying, and there are even the portrait ghosts similar to the first game. There are so many interesting new characters and so much creativity that the idea of Mario mandates is becoming increasingly shallow, and that puddle is about to completely dry up. It has been quite a while since a game has captured my heart. There have been games I've certainly enjoyed, but it's been quite a while since I've been fully engaged with a game. The kind of game that just takes you away, where you feel fully immersed within the world of the game. What I never could have imagined is that game would be Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope. There's a lot to say, and I'll be doing a full retrospective review of it soon. Pinpointing just one aspect that made me resonate with the game so much is tough, but the best way I can describe it is that it incorporates what I love about 3D Mario and Mario RPGs into one. With all sorts of interesting characters and unique locations, as well as a story that's out of this world, it's anything but a typical Mario game. The combat of Kingdom Battle is refined and made to be even better, and in addition to the refined combat, there's a lot of exploration with many side quests to complete and these big expansive worlds to explore. I cannot wait to make a full retrospective about this game, because I cannot stress enough how incredible it is. But for a ranked list, all I can say is that you're only behind 2 other games. Super Mario 3D World used to be the misunderstood 3D Mario game. At a time without Sandbox 3D Mario and a ton of new Super Mario Bros. Games, many look past 3D World. But I'm so glad it's got a second chance, and many people are seeing how great it truly is. And on the Switch, it is better than it's ever been before. There are many quality of life improvements, such as the game running faster and the movement overall feeling better, and the Miiverse content is replaced with a photo mode with the stamps being in full color, and shockingly enough, it has some pretty solid online multiplayer. Definitely been one of the most fun games to stream. And not only are you getting 3D World, but a brand new side campaign being Bowser's Fury. Bowser's Fury goes all out with the concept of an open world 3D Mario. It's the most open 3D Mario experience yet. You'll be exploring Lake Lapcat, and as you collect cat shines, you'll find even more areas to explore. But watch out, because Bowser is just not having it. He's essentially turned into a kaiju monster unlike anything we've seen in a Mario game. And there's even a cat theme going on, where all the enemies are cats. Mario mandates? Yeah, okay. But most importantly, it's an excellent game that showcases a fully open world 3D Mario, and even though it's a bit short, it's in addition to the definitive version of Super Mario 3D World. This is hands down the best Wii U port, and is without a doubt worth getting, even if you have the original. It's also one of the best Mario games of all time. So the final question is, what is the best Nintendo Switch Mario game? The best Nintendo Switch Mario game is none other than Super Mario Odyssey. I've gone on about how much I love this game on many different occasions, and I never get tired of doing so either. It's my favorite Mario game for many reasons. They perfected Sandbox 3D Mario, and the game is pouring with creativity. There are so many unique locations and new ideas, but it still retains what makes Mario games great to begin with. But most importantly, it's one of the most fun and replayable games I've ever played. Even 5 years later, I still come back to the game regularly. It's been a long time since the game released, and we're absolutely due for a sequel. But until then, Super Mario Odyssey remains my favorite Mario game, my favorite Switch game, and my favorite game of all time. And that is every Nintendo Switch Mario game ranked. You could say the Switch has been a roller coaster ride for the Mario series. When the games are good, they're some of the best in the entire series. But when they're bad, they're easily some of the worst. But fortunately, most of them are good, and we're probably going to get a few more before the Switch generation wraps up. But if there's one thing for certain, we still can't play Super Mario Bros. 35. Come on, Nintendo. Bring it back. Do the right thing.